one day, you'll wake up and something that you thought was going to be around forever will be gone. I have kids, and I'm blessed to see them experience things for the first time. New playgrounds, new foods, new friends. The first best thing about that is seeing the world through their eyes with wonder and awe, like the world is still full of magic for them. Because I never grew out of my emo phase, the second best thing about experiencing first with them is that in the aftermath of those moments, I start to reflect on my own mortality, and instead of thinking about firsts, start thinking about lasts. Are there foods that I've eaten for the last time that I don't know about? What if I've hugged my grandma for the last time? And are there places that I've already been to for the last time without even knowing it? Well, if we don't act fast, the last time anyone visits Bird Island is going to be here before we know it. What's going on, birders? I'm Slow Birding. I'm getting better at birding slowly, and this video ends with 2 C's, a cliche and a call to action. While I was photographing birds at Lake Conroe's FM 830 boat ramp, I had the chance to talk to one of the game wardens about the best places in the area to go birding, and to my surprise, he told me that one of them was just right around the corner. Lake Conroe's Bird Island is a hotspot that I'd seen on eBird for months, but always assumed I couldn't access it without a boat because the best onshore vantage point is nestled inside of a semi-private community. And the jury is still out on if this park is actually open to the public, though no one kicked me out. Literally everyone asked where I lived, and maybe that's a neighborly question, but it also felt a little, you know? In either case, please be respectful if you consider visiting and proceed with caution. Bird Island is a rookery on Lake Conroe that's home to a number of our year-round wading birds. Great egrets, western cattle egrets, neotropic cormorants, little blue herons, and great blue heron. And I thought that the video I'd be making this week was about photographing those birds, but instead, after doing a little bit of digging and talking to some of the locals, I realized the real story here is that the island is eroding as we speak. The historical images on Google show that the rookery was once a huge 4-acre island, but today, it's been eroded down to only roughly 0.2 acres. And those nosy neighbors that I spoke to actually confirmed this. Whether they had lived there for as long as 20 years or as short as 2, they said that they've been able to see the island shrink with their own eyes. After doing just a little bit of digging, I actually read people's stories on Facebook about how they used to dock their boats on the island and have picnics, which would be nearly impossible now because what's left of the island leaves only just enough space for the birds that still inhabit it. Still, the island and park are great for birding. While there, in addition to the birds that I already mentioned, I spotted some of my favorite resident birds around the lake: great-tailed grackle, scissor-tailed flycatchers, purple martins, and a crew of Egyptian geese. Facing south from the park, the sun rises on your left and sets on your right, giving you great warm, directional light for bird photography at both sunrise and sunset. I made this picture while visiting during midday with Mrs. Slowbirding and the kids, and it was in that Goldilocks distance, but I was in dad mode and wasn't dialed in, so my settings weren't right, and it's not tack sharp, and I didn't have any luck recreating it with the evening light that I was hoping for. Speaking of luck, it hasn't been up to chance that the island is disappearing. Lake Conroe, like most Texas lakes, is a man-made lake, and it was completed and filled in the 70s. It was built as a reservoir for the city of Houston after a long drought in the 50s, and I don't think it was constructed with the current level of recreation, tourism, and development in mind. Develops have popped up around the lake over time, but the laws have not caught up with it. Today, Bird Island lacks any of the sort of legal restrictions that prohibit boats or jet skis from coming right up to it. That means that there's a constant stream of vehicles that create wakes that speed up the rate the shoreline degrades. And with more and more people moving to the area, that means more boats and more disturbance to the island for the foreseeable future. Going back to that sentiment about my kids experiencing things for the first time, I'm keenly aware that this island could be underwater before they're even my age. And that's not a future that I feel comfortable experiencing. But the sentiment that I got from the locals was, we don't want to see it disappear, but be expensive to fix, and we don't care enough to spend the money fixing it. To be clear, it will cost a lot of time and money to restore Bird Island to its former glory. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department maintains the lake and has estimated that it's a multi-million-dollar project. Millions of dollars that they don't have. Naturally, residents have their own opinions about where they'd like to see that money go. Fortunately, some people aren't willing to accept that status quo and are taking action. Local residents Maddie Bullock and Sam Parikh have started a petition and are actively collecting signatures and support to save Bird Island. They're partnering with local businesses to raise awareness about this gem on Lake Conroe and have dedicated themselves to saving this key habitat for our community before it's gone. So while the people I talked to have resigned themselves to apathy, these two have moved towards action. And I think these women are right in their ambition and their optimism. Apathy is such a tempting emotion to give into because it lets us off the hook from the sadness that we feel about watching a place like Bird Island disappear. In fact, it's much easier to say, oh, that's too bad, than it is to do the work of collecting these signatures and petitioning a huge authority like the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department and taking action. So I started this video by mentioning two C's. Here's the first one. These women are speaking for the birds and Bird Island in the same way that the Lorax spoke for the trees. Yes, it's cliche to quote the Lorax in a film about saving the environment, but I never claimed to be original. Unless someone like you cares an awful whole lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Finally, that brings me to the call to action. In the description of this video, there's a link to the petition that you can digitally sign to add your support to saving Bird Island. I've done it personally. They send me zero spam. They're not asking for money. They're just asking you to help our community acknowledge this beautiful habitat before it's gone. Now, our little community here on YouTube is small, but if each one of you signs the petition, it would get them over the 1,000 signature milestone, which is huge. Thank you so much for watching this video and choosing action over apathy. In the comments below, drop me your favorite emoji once you sign the petition to let me know that you did it. My favorite emoji is the cowboy smiley, in case you were curious. All right, I'll see you next time for more slow birding.